Welcome to Book Club The Yappening, a podcast where we discuss every and all things we've read and some of us haven't read, in a safe place where we can yap about life in general. In the description, you'll find links to our Fable, Instagram, and Discord accounts. Please follow for more yapping in different styles. For a warning, we will 100% be spoiling this book, so please pause, go read, and come back to yap. Read the trigger warnings before continuing on. Welcome back to the Yappening. We are jumping right into part 2, which is why we haven't switched positions at all from the first part. Because
Book 3, Part 2.
Book 3, Part 2. Please.
Acts 3 and 4.
No, it's just Act 3.
Act 3.
And just in case, if you somehow jumped from Part 1 to Part 2, please look at the trigger warnings below.
Yes.
I guess 5 acts is a tragedy, so prepare.
Yes. Be prepared. Have your tissues.
Be prepared.
No, it doesn't get sad until the last. Well, I don't. It depends on your version of sad, because there was like a part that like made me tear up, but it was just like they're so happy.
Oh God, it's even scarier.
So, anyways, back at Spence, Gemma. Oh, also, this is Sweet Part Thing by Libba Bray. If for whatever reason you decided to just listen to Part 2. So back at Spence, Gemma brings the girls up to speed. They decide that they need to figure out a way to meet with the illusionist, basically. So brings them up to speed regarding Tom, the Rakshana, just all that stuff. They need to find a way to meet the illusionist. They decide to ask the French teacher because she's really into spiritualism. They're like, oh, she'll definitely take us. But then the French teacher tells Gemma that she's not sure it would actually be educational. And then she says the school year's almost over and you guys can go see whatever you want anytime you want at that point. So I don't know that this was really valuable for me to do with you. So Gemma decides that this will be the last time she uses her magic to change people's minds. Spoilers, it's not. But she basically takes the French teacher's hands and begins to use her magic. Of course, as Gemma is doing this, McLeese walks into the classroom. McLeese allegedly thinks that she doesn't have magic. And the French teacher very excitedly gets up as McLeese walks in, telling McLeese that she needs to go ask Miss Nightwing if she can take the girls to see an illusionist. As she rushes out the door, Gemma is like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed now, trying to get away from McLeese. But McLeese stops her and says, don't you think it's kind of odd that she was super wound up about an illusionist? And Gemma goes, oh, no, I didn't find it that odd. She loves that type of thing. That was totally normal. And then McLeese says, okay, if it's super educational, maybe I'll join you guys. So fast forward, Gemma and Co go to visit Pippa and her band of merry factory girls. Pippa brings everyone into a maze and instigates a game of hide and seek within said maze. Gemma is wandering the maze looking for Anne, but then she hears whispering and sees Felicity and Pippa standing incredibly close with their foreheads touching and holding hands.
Wait, who?
They're Felicity and Pippa. What did I say?
I didn't know where Pippa came from.
Oh, she instigated.
Jem and Co go to visit Pippa and her band of merry factory girls. Pippa brings everyone to a maze.
I thought this was part of the real world adventures, so I missed that part where they're back in the realms.
So sorry.
No, that's on me.
It sure is. Anyways, so she comes up and sees Felicity and Pippa. They're standing incredibly close together with their foreheads touching. They're holding hands and they're whispering to each other. And yes, it's exactly what you think it is. And no, Gemma does not in fact clock this. Gemma is able to make out a couple words. And from the gist of what Gemma is overhearing, Pippa is trying to convince Felicity to do something that will allow them to be together forever. As Gemma tries to get closer to hear what's actually being said, she steps on a stick, causing Felicity to scold her for sneaking up on them. Gemma notices that Felicity's face is super flushed though, she's blushing, she's embarrassed. So Pippa very quickly jumps in and tells Gemma that Felicity's been teaching her how to curtsy for the queen. And she's like, oh, it's so hard to curtsy, Felicity's teaching me. And Gemma goes, bullshit. And basically, keep your secrets. fine, don't tell me, I don't care. Felicity doubles down and basically says, like, no, really, that's what we were doing. And then Gemma storms off. But when she, like, turns the corner, she hears them begin to whisper again the second that she's, like, out of sight. So Gemma is having really big emotions about this, obviously. At this point, though, she's tearing through the maze. She's feeling the magic begin to bubble up inside of her. She just really wants to hurt something, basically. So she takes off into the woods. As she's moving, she's touching things. Plants are beginning to grow, sprout, grow fruit. She then hears a pixie complimenting her on her power as she's, like, kind of tearing through the woods. Just kind of off gassing her magic, more or less.
Nice powers. Be ashamed if something happened to it.
Right. Gemma's super hopped up on powers, and she decides that she needs to let go of the powers, and so she's like, okay, I'll give this pixie some power that'll kind of, like, help relieve a little bit of tension for me. She reaches out, touches the pixie, gives it some magic. When Gemma touched the creature, she notices that they are freezing to the touch. Before Gemma can pull her hand back, though, she catches a glimpse of darkness. The pixie goes on to tell Gemma that there is a place for her to be known, loved and wanted. All Gemma needs to do is go with the pixie. With that, the pixie takes off and disappears into a fog border, which is basically brings you to the gate of the Winterlands. Let's see. Of course, we know Gemma here. She's always moving with logic, and she never does anything rash or impulsive, so naturally, she follows the pixie. As Gemma steps through the mist, she begins to hear a voice speaking to her. The voice asks Gemma for her fears and desires. The voice then goes on to tell her that this is where her destiny belongs, and that she has nothing to fear. The pixie offers to take Gemma to the Tree of All Souls, telling Gemma that if she follows, then she'll never have to be lonely again. As Gemma takes a step towards the gate of the Winterlands, Gemma can hear someone calling out for her, like shouting her name. Gemma then hears horses riding up with a quickness. So basically, the centaurs are reapproaching the castle, and like the girls are screaming for Gemma. So let's see. She takes off because she can like tell that they're like clearly in a panic. And then she asks Felicity what's happening. Felicity just sort of points up the path leading up to Pippa's castle. Centaurs again pull up. They tell Gemma that she's coming with them. Felicity tells him, I think the fuck not. Basically like goes up and she's like, she's not going with you. The leader tells her that Fionn has called for her, basically, and that it's time for her to come and account for herself. Like, so basically, like, you've had enough time. Fionn needs you to figure your shit out. Anne pipes up saying that obviously they're gonna go with Gemma. And then Pippa starts whining about how much fun they were having. So Anne's like, okay, well, we're obviously coming with you. And then Pippa goes, oh, but we're having so much fun. What do you mean? Do we have to? And then Felicity is like, grabs onto Pippa's hand and asks Gemma if she wants them to come. Do you want us to come? As she's like gripping onto Pippa's hand. And then she very clearly does not, in fact, want to come with her. So Gemma basically tells her that she'll go alone, mostly because she just doesn't want to be near Pippa and Felicity. She's like, well, I can't just take Anne, but like, I fuck off, basically. So let's see. Side note, Felicity is going to have a huge issue with this later. Yes. Okay. So we know Felicity hates Gemma knowing things that she doesn't know. So it will be a point where Felicity gets pissed that Gemma's going off and doing all these things on her own.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways, bitch.
Like, at this point, she's setting the precedent that it's okay for Gemma to be going off and doing these things alone. Mm-hmm. Like, if you don't want her doing shit without you, you maybe shouldn't make her feel like she's alone, right? So, also, funny side note, for whatever reason, the lead centaur has a thing for one of the factory girls, and he tells her that he would, he basically goes, like, have you ever ridden a centaur before? And Bessie goes, you better relax, she's a lady. And he goes, I know, that's my favorite type.
Oh my, wait, I kind of enjoy the centaur.
Yeah, he's like, I know, I like ladies, that's why I'm doing this. So
Get it, factory worker.
I know. When Gemma asks, she's basically like, "Are you fucking done? Can we go? Like, I thought you were coming here to get me. Why are you flirting? Like, stop being an asshole." So she climbs up. They ride off. She knows that this isn't going to be a good meeting, and then as they're riding off, she like looks over and sees the Gorgon like is keeping pace with her, and she's like, "Shit, okay, this is definitely not going to be a good meeting."
She's still a boat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Like I know the boat, the Gorgon shows up everywhere. I'm just everywhere is near water.
You don't need to make it make sense. It's a book.
There's lots of water. The realms are a wet place. It's very moist. I
like it.
Said that because it pisses people off, and that makes me happy. So
Moist.
oh, that. I hope you're not wearing headphones because that was probably really alarming and upsetting.
Next time I'll do it as a whisper.
ASMR, moist ASMR.
Just start making the sound effects, smacking my gums.
I know. I have like the cough drop because I get so hoarse while I'm doing this. Anyway, so.
Oh no, just because that upsets people too. Is just like the mouth noises.
And that upsets me too. So I do feel really bad that every once in a while I like accidentally have a moist mouth noise.
They'll go on our side channel whenever we get that going.
The moistening.
The moistening. Oh my god.
No, it's just for like side episodes or like I don't know what we'll put up there. I just came up with it 5 seconds ago.
The moist yapper. Okay, so
the moist yapper. Oh my god.
So basically, Gemma's being brought to trial, more or less. People have cited her going to have secret meetings with the Hajin, allegedly, which we know she hasn't been, but people have been seeing her go in and out of the Cave of Sighs alone, and they're just like, well, clearly she's plotting. So,
isn't getting timey-wimey. People are saying they saw her go, and she's like, I haven't fucking been there.
She has, though.
She has. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she went earlier, but like she's not actually planning anything, and as far as we're aware, like you and me are aware, it was just the one time.
It was just the one time. Obviously, we know she's gonna go back there.
Because you went back to see Cersei.
Yeah, she went in, she was like...
yeah, she saw Cersei.
Yeah. So she went in just that one time, but they're like, well, you've been seen basically colluding with the Hajin. And she did go, but we obviously know that there wasn't anything nefarious happening, really. Like, she didn't go there with any nefarious like plans or intentions. She was going essentially to put her mind at ease that she didn't need to worry about Cersei anymore, which funnily enough, with Kardec being like, well, what if I go and find out it's true? It's like, you thought you were gonna ease your mind that Cersei's dead, and then you went out and found out that she's actually not. So that's kind of like a fun duality, I guess. You thought wrong. Okay. So, she basically says, I wasn't plotting with them. Like, yes, I did go see them, but we didn't talk about anything related to this at all. And they basically call her a liar. They think that she's essentially plotting to return the magic to the temple and only bind it to the order, and have the Hajin guard it as they did previously. A lot of bickering and fighting. More or less everyone is just certain that war is brewing. So a lot of it is like, we need the power now because war's coming, basically. And a lot of them want to strike first, as well. Like, they're like, we need to like get the magic so that we can make moves. Theon tells everyone basically like, stop, like everybody shut the fuck up. They then say that they aren't going to be going to the war with the Hajin or the Order. Theon tells Gemma that they are inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt. And like, Theon honestly is patient. Like, they just keep being like, I'm going to trust you here, but I need you to fucking figure it out. Like, just repeatedly. Unfortunately, his good graces, or their good graces, about to run out. So he tells Gemma he's inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she needs to show give a show of good faith. Theon says that they would like to take her up on her offer to gift them with some magic. Gemma asks what Theon intends to do with the magic, and they more or less say, I'm not up in your business, so why do you need to be up in mine? She's hesitant, which the forest folk take as a sign that she's lying about even being able to gift the magic. They're like, she just said that to placate you. She can't actually do it. But also, the fact that Fion won't tell Gemma what they intend to do with the magic makes Gemma less inclined to trust them, right? But, like, I also get it because the Order essentially kept the magic on a leash. Like, I don't need to tell you what I'm doing with it. You just need to give it to me. Like, don't act like the Order. Don't have, you know, like, just let me live my life, basically. So Fion asks, will you gift us with the magic, or do we need to go to war? And Gemma takes Fion's hands, intends to only gift them with a small amount of magic. She's obviously wildly concerned that they're going to do something crazy, and I don't know why, because again, they have always helped her, essentially, so why this distrust? But anyways, so let's see. She takes Fion's hand incredibly briefly, releases their hands, and Fion says, is that it? And she says, I don't have control over how much magic goes to people when I gift it to them. And they say, okay. They shake her hand, lean in, and say, that was your first lie. Don't let there be a second. As Gorgon and Gemma...
Yes, my first lie.
Probably to them.
Her first covert lie to them. Or overt. Like, it's the first time that she's, like, very actively lied. Every other time she's lied, I would argue that she's actually lying to herself, too. Because I do think that she genuinely believes, like, we'll get this figured out, but I just need more time. And we know that she's lying to herself on that. So this is the first time she's actively lied with the intent of lying. So Gorgon, Gemma sailing... Gemma asks why Gorgon wants to remain in her prison. Gemma tells the Gorgon that she can be free. She tells Gemma that she won't ever be free and that she doesn't deserve to be free, before telling Gemma that they shouldn't speak on the past. And then when the future of the realms... Oh, we shouldn't speak on the past when the future needs to be decided. Gemma, being a teen, is just vibing on her boat. She then huffs at Gorgon, like, why can't everything be this peaceful like it is right now? Gorgon tells Gemma that peace doesn't just happen. Peace is a living fire that must be fed constantly. Gemma is basically having a why me moment. Like, why me? Why did I have to have all this power? And Gorgon said that... she asked Gorgon, like, why can I be responsible for peace of the realms when I can't even govern my own emotions? Which is so self-aware of her, like, blessings. Gorgon tells Gemma that why isn't the question. The question is, what is she going to do now that she has the power? It's like, well, you can't change, and you can't change what's happening, but also you knowing the reason why doesn't change anything. But what are you going to do about it? Like, that's what really matters, is, like, what actions are you going to take? So from here, Gemma decides to ask Gorgon if she has ever heard of the Tree of All Souls. Gorgon is startled by the question, asking Gemma where she even heard that. And Gemma presses the Gorgon. Gorgon tells Gemma that the tree is just a legend. Gemma insists that the Gorgon tell her the legend. Gorgon's basically like, the tree's not real, don't worry about it. And she's like, well, if it's a legend, tell me the legend. So Gorgon tells her more or less things that we already know about the tree and the Winterlands. But Gorgon's vibe here is basically just the tree isn't real. So Gemma asked Gorgon, if the tree did exist, shouldn't we at least try to find it? And Gorgon very quickly is like, absolutely not. As they pull up to the Borderlands, which is where Pippa's castle is, Gorgon asks Gemma to forget about the Winterlands, warning Gemma that no good would come from going there. Gemma essentially counters, telling the Gorgon that she can't know that no good would come of it if the Gorgon's never even been there. Basically, like, you can't tell me it's a bad idea for me to go when you've never even been there yourself. So as Gemma and co make their way back to Spence, Gemma clocks that there's a pixie in the tunnel outside of the realms. So, like, there's the tunnel, which is essentially, like, between the realms and the real world. There's a pixie following them through the tunnel, like, just kind of watching them. That doesn't really matter, but basically the point is that creatures from the realms are very clearly little by little being not inside the realms anymore. So also, I'm just gonna drop this here because I know I didn't write it in here. The reason the Gorgon doesn't want to be free is the Gorgon feels like, should she ever be free, she's going to return to her basic instincts, and she was an incredibly ruthless warrior, and the reason she's the last of her kind is either I think the Order is who imprisoned the Gorgons, but all the Gorgons were imprisoned except our boat lady, and because it's dishonorable to be executed, she went in and killed all of the Gorgons, every last one, including like children. So she slaughtered her entire people because she thought it would be dishonorable for them to be executed by someone else. So she's like,
She lives a hard life.
she's like, I deserve this. That was heinous of me, but also I understand that was heinous of me, and if I'm not a boat, maybe I won't understand that was heinous. Like, I like who I am now. I'm worried if I'm not a boat, then I'm gonna be an asshole again, more or less.
I'm gonna be me again, and I don't want that.
Yeah, just because this will keep coming.
Go back to the old me.
Yeah, this will keep coming up. Basically, like, people are like, it will get to the point where it's like, okay, you need to stop being a boat, and she's like, ain't gonna do it. So just so you know why she's so desperate to stay being a boat.
Do you know how much faster this is than walking?
Right. Guys, I'm helping you out.
Yeah, she clearly can follow anybody anywhere.
Right. Okay, so now we are at the illusionist. When they meet with the illusionist, Dr. Van Ripple, Gemma very stealthily navigates the conversation to his assistant, telling him that her mother had seen him perform once, and especially loved a specific illusion, one where his beautiful assistant was put into a trance and began writing on a slate. He tells Gemma that the illusion was actually his assistant, like that, oh, that illusion belonged to her, I can't do it anymore because I don't have her, like, with me anymore. Telling the girls that she was a medium. He then tells the girls that he no longer performs it because his assistant mysteriously vanished. The girls ask what happened.
It's a mystery.
Right. He said he's not sure. Some people believe that she just ran off, but prior to going missing, she had told him that she was being hunted by dark forces. He believes that she was likely murdered. He's like, she was very sketched out. Like, I have no doubt that, like, someone was coming after her. So he goes on to tell the girls that his assistant was a woman of many secrets, that she came to him when she was about 20, that he really knew very little about her. Other than that she was an orphan and that she did spend some time at boarding school. And the fact that they don't immediately ask what boarding school is fucking bonkers. But
we know several people. Was that any of these names?
Right. So Gemma asks if the assistant ever spoke about her past. And he says she didn't speak about anything. She couldn't talk. So she communicated through writing, but she didn't, like, go into her past at all because, like, just here's my, anyways, but he's like, she didn't speak out on anything. He tells them that one day she came to the theater and she was in a really great mood. He asked, like, oh, like, what's going on? You're really happy today. And she says that her sister came to visit her and that they were planning to restore what had been too long lost. She didn't elaborate further, but he just remembers that he was super surprised that she had a sister because he essentially thought she had no family at all. But then she goes on to explain that she was just a really cherished friend from boarding school. He told her that he would love to meet her dear friend, but she said that it wouldn't be possible. He assumed that it was just because he thought that her friend was, like, incrediblyent, so it wouldn't be possible and that she wouldn't want to talk to, like, someone so below her station type of thing. He then explains that after reuniting with her sister, she began to, like, change. One day he found her frantically writing on her slate, my sister has deceived us, she is a monster, such a wicked, wicked plan. When he asked her what was going on and why she was so distressed, she said that she had a vision, a most terrible vision of what should come to pass. For what I took fair is foul, and all shall be lost. He then tells the girls that his assistant had a bit of a coke habit. And then Anne goes, "Coke is good for you." And he's like, "I don't know about that, babe." So anyways, he was worried that because she started doing drugs that she just didn't know what was real and what wasn't anymore. And he genuinely is like, she's a medium. Yes, that's a thing that's factual. And it is factual. She could in fact like commune with spirits, the realm. But she couldn't tell the difference between truth and illusion. She became incredibly suspicious and began seeing things everywhere. Like she was just jumping at his shadows at that point. She told him that she may be the only one who could stop this evil plan, and that she then began obsessively writing a journal. She told him it was of utmost importance, but she was very secretive about the journal and what she was writing. One day he had come in to see her while she was writing, and she like very quickly like covered the journal. So he thought that she was like writing down all of his illusions to like run off with them. So he ended up firing her, and he didn't see her again until he didn't see her for many months, until about 3 years ago she randomly showed up at his door. He tells the girls that the assistant looked like alarming, that her eyes look haunted. She seemed like she hadn't slept or eaten in a long time. At this point, the French teacher comes up, and she scolds the girls for speaking with the illusionist on their own. Like, how dare you run off and talk to a man? She then name drops Spence, and Gemma clocks that he has a visible reaction to her mentioning Spence. And then we'll obviously come to find out that the assistant was from Spence. Not only that, but her name was Wilhelmina Wyatt, who was the author of the Secret Society book that Gemma and McLeethy had purchased. Side note, McLeethy, who was also at the like illusionist thing, she sneaks off and Gemma follows after her to see where she's going. McLeethy is meeting with a mystery person. Important notes about this: whoever McLeethy's talking to, she was accusing them of lying to her. She then said that she wasn't going to lose to the Rakshana or a 16-year-old, and then telling the mystery person that they need to follow her lead, basically like, I need you to fucking do what I'm telling you to. And then she tells them to get gone before they're noticed being here. What?
Get gone.
You got... Oh, I'm like, you got theories? You want to share with the class?
No, I mean, I was thinking that I was trying to remember if we knew who made the journal, wrote the journal in the first one, because I was thinking it was going to be Sarah Reese Toom was the assistant, and just pretending to not talk. And obviously, she probably doesn't have a sister. She was just illusioned, like Felicity's mom was about the cousin.
No. Obviously.
Or it could have been the like Mary-Sarah relationship from the first one.
Yeah, it's not like in the roommate sense, but they're just incredibly close friends, like genuinely.
Not roommates, but next door neighbors.
they're just besties. And if you don't have family and you don't have siblings, you do like adopt friends as those. So key things that happen. We're fast forwarding, just stuff that happened that I don't go into a ton of detail on. The construction workers, they're still racist. One of the workers has gone missing. Miller assumes that the Romani kidnapped a fucking grown man. Anne receives a letter from the director she's meant to audition for. But Bridget sees that the letter is written to or addressed to Nan Washbrad, and she's like, oh, this must have been sent here by mistake. Let me take it to Mrs. Nightwing and she can do what she wants with it. So she takes it up to the office. Of course, knowing our ladies, they sneak in and get it. While in the office, Gemma finds a letter postmarked 1983 to Mrs. Nightwing. The broken seal is a crescent eye, and the letter says, "You've ignored my warnings. If you persist in your plan, I will expose you." Later, while in the chapel, Gemma has a vision of a stained glass angel holding a Gorgon's head, telling Gemma to beware the birth of May. And that brings us back to the realms, Once the girls arrive, Gemma rushes off. Felicity asks where she's going, and Gemma says that she's off to meet with Asha to discuss the Hajin and the forest folk. Felicity says that sounds super dull, so she goes off by herself. And again, Felicity's gonna be super fucking pissed that this happened, even though she's like, boring, pass.
I got a corrupted girl to go touch foreheads with.
Bumping foreheads.
Yeah.
Now that sounds like a good time.
Literally. Okay, so when Gemma arrives, she tells Asha that she's here to visit the well. She believes that Circe will be able to shed some more light on info that Gemma has, both regarding the Lady of the River and the letter that she found in Nightwing's office. Asha follows after Gemma. She's like super, like, Asha's like super like frazzled, and she basically says that the Hajin are incredibly fearful of the forest folk right now. The Hajin have been accused of collaborating with the Order, and the forest folk have basically been harassing them. Gemma very bluntly asks Asha if they have... Wait, hang on. Gemma very bluntly asks the Hajin Asha if the Hajin have been colluding with the Order. And again, I don't know why, because outside of the forest folk, the Hajin 1000% have always been kind to her, always been welcoming to her, and always helped her. So why she's like, are you colluding with the Order? Like, for all intents and purposes, Asha was very pro binding the magic to herself and then redistributing it. Mm-hmm. Why would she do that if she wants the Order back? Because obviously they want all the power only to themselves.
I'm sure just like there are so many groups on her about different things that she kind of feels like, well, everyone wants something from me, so I'm sure they do as well. Like, I mean, the whole point is she's feeling very alone here.
And
but I understand, just like, again,
she doesn't
like,
clock many things, so
like being a teenager and just like everyone's out to get me kind of mentality.
Yeah, and for the most part, they kind of are, to some extent anyways. But yeah, she does have a moment with someone where she's like, is that all I mean to you? Just the power I can offer you type of thing. And like, I do get that. Anyways, so Asha is like super taken aback from Gemma being like, are you colluding with them? And Asha's like, do you really believe that? And Gemma just says, I want to be alone.
I don't know what to believe.
Right. And like, again, the Asha and the Gorgon are the only two who have always helped Gemma without really asking for anything in return necessarily. I mean, they're trying to keep her on track, but they aren't necessarily asking anything from her other than like the ultimate goal of like peace and order. So anyways, okay. Yeah, and everyone's like pissed at Gemma, but also she's not doing what she told them she was going to do. So I do also understand why people are aggravated with her. So Gemma approaches the well and tells Circe that something's going on and she needs answers. Circe simply tells Gemma that Gemma knows the price of her counsel. It's going to be magic. Gemma says that she understands, saying that she will give Circe what she wants in exchange for what Gemma needs. Circe asks if the magic is given of her own free will, and Gemma confirms yes, it is. Circe instructs Gemma on how to first break the seal of the well, and then tells Gemma to only give her a small bit of magic, just as a token, telling Gemma that she's too weak to take any more at this time. Gemma does the thing, and then rapid fires questions at Circe. What did Circe mean when she said the Order is plotting? How can Gemma stop the Rakshana? What should Gemma know about the realms, Winterlands, and the creatures, and the magic? And Pippa. Basically, like, Pippa. Just general question mark on Pippa. And then, let's see. Circe basically... As Gemma's specifically asking about Pippa, Circe cuts her off and says that all of the questions have a very straightforward answer. Gemma needs to look within herself.
It's not giving me a damn answer.
Yeah.
Why do I have to figure it out? I set you free. Yeah. I set you free
right.
to give me the fucking answer.
Legitimately.
Sorry, Fig.
So she does elaborate a little that Gemma needs to understand herself, her fears, and her desires. Once Gemma does that, she can overcome the hold anyone has on her, basically. Like, once you understand what you really want and what you're afraid of, like, no one can use anything against you anymore. So she also reminds Gemma that the magic's living, is joined to whomever it touches. The magic is changed by them as well. She finishes up by telling Gemma that she also needs to understand what the magic is going to cost her, telling her that everything has its price. As Gemma's leaving, Asha, because Circe basically goes, that's enough for today, like, get out. As she's leaving, Asha pulls Gemma aside, and she explained that the Hajin are not going to join Gemma's alliance. She explains that before the order, the Hajin were treated as slaves, and they were often, like, hunted and killed for fun. The order was only able to make the Hajin safe, basically by keeping them in the caves, like, secluded from everyone. But since joining up with Gemma, they have been taunted, their poppies have been stolen, and a member of the Hajin was taken by a centaur and, like, whipped. Gemma is, like, furious, like, on their behalf, basically telling Asha that she's not going to let this happen because, right, it shouldn't be happening. And she is like, I'm not going to stand for this. I'm going to go talk to Fion about this. Asha declines, like, don't do that. The Hajin are just going to withdraw just to remain safe. We'll just be in the caves. Like, you guys can come and do what you need to do, but we don't want any part of it. We just want to be left alone. Because that is what's best for the Hajin, just staying secluded. While leaving the caves, Gemma is approached by a Winterland's rider. She is able to use magic to hide herself, but the rider is in fact Amar. He stops near Gemma, basically, and just says, I can smell you. He then tells her to beware the birth of May. Gemma meets with Kartik, fast forward.
Takes a bath. She takes a bath.
She takes a bath, yes.
Because they can smell her.
Oh, like, what? She meets with Kartik. She explains that Paulson approached her, that they are trying to get Tom to join up with them, and she asks for help. He refuses to help, telling her that he knows what the Rakshana is capable of, and he's not going to help her meet with them, and that she needs to understand that if Tom joins them, that he's not her brother anymore. Basically, like, I can't stop them, and you can't stop them, and you just got to let go of your brother. Like, if he does this, that's not on you. You just got to let it go. And then she tells Kartik that she has seen Amar, telling Kartik that if he helps with Tom, she will help him find Amar. Kartik agrees, but tells her that once this is over, he's leaving and he's not gonna see her again. Mostly because he's, like, hurt that she's, like, legitimately blackmailing him. And then, let's see. Okay, we are now up to 3 construction workers missing.
Oh, they get installed?
Yeah. So, fast forward some more. Gemma has another vision. She's in Spence. She sees Sarah and her mother. She also sees Eugenia Spence. There's a young girl. She raises her hand, and Mrs. Spence calls her forward. It's Mina, our river girl. She brings Mrs. Spence a drawing of a tree. A tree that Gemma's seen in her vision. Just various visions. Every single book basically has been looking at this tree. Mrs. Spence asks Mina how she came to draw this picture. Mina writes on her board, the Tree of All Souls. Mrs. Spence gets incredibly flustered and, like, wipes the board clean immediately, telling Mina that that's enough of that. Sarah pipes up and asks about the tree, like, is there really a tree in the Winterlands? Mrs. Spence, hang on, wait. Sarah pipes up asking if the tree is in the Winterlands, asking if the tree is powerful, begging Mrs. Spence to tell them about it. Mrs. Spence tells Sarah she needs to be studying, and then she throws the drawing in a fire after telling them that the tree's not real. And obviously this is not at all an overreaction, especially to a myth, but okay. Anyways, the vision then changes. We're looking at adult Mina holding a dagger in front of Gemma. Mina's face is full of rage. She raises the dagger to strike. Gemma lifts her hand to block the strike. The vision ends, but Gemma has a slice on her hand from the dagger, basically, in the vision. Gemma goes back to see Circe and asks her what she knows about the Winterlands, telling Circe that she wishes to see them for herself. Circe tells Gemma that she's not ready to go. Gemma gives her more magic just because this is just going to keep happening. Let's see. And this is not at all going to be something that's going to bite her in the ass later. Circe tells Gemma that she will be asked questions at the gate. Gemma must answer them truthfully or she won't be able to enter. The questions are incredibly difficult, like what is your favorite color? Once inside, Gemma is to follow the river. She cannot make any bargains or promises. Gemma cannot trust anything she sees or hears, which has no way been an issue for her before. Circe tells her it is a land of enchantment and deceit. It's important for Gemma to know which is which. Taking bets,
which one was deceit?
But also like what's truth, right? But also, I feel like deceit has like negative connotations, whereas like illusions maybe not so much, right? Let's go ahead and take bets on if Gemma is going to follow these instructions even a little. Or if she will actually do the exact opposite like she did last time. So Gemma asks if there is anything else she should know. Circe says, yes, you shouldn't go. Gemma asks one last question, is the tree real? And Circe says, I'm hoping you'll tell me. As Gemma's leaving, Circe stops her, asking why Mina wants her to go to the Winterlands. Gemma starts to answer, but then she realizes not only does she not know why Mina wants her to go to the Winterlands, she's never even thought about it. Like, she's like, it didn't occur to me to even question why. But also, I'm gonna be so real with you. I don't know that anything from the visions have even indicated that Mina wants her to go to the Winterlands. Like, I don't think there's not any... But regardless, Gemma's like, I see the tree. Clearly, I have to go to the tree. But even so, what would be the motivation for her to go to the tree of all souls? Like, she's like got puzzle pieces and she's like created a completely wrong picture, which happens a lot. Anyways, Gemma returns to everyone. Our trio and Pippa and the band of factory girls, they set off for the Winterlands. They get to the gate. The first question they are asked is if they want to enter. Next thing that they are asked is for their greatest fears and their greatest desires. At this point, it really seems like Gemma should have done the self-reflecting that Circe has told her to, because she very much was like, you need to figure out your desires and your fears, and Gemma's not done that. It's like, well, maybe this would be easier for you. Felicity says that her desire is to be powerful and free. Her greatest fear is being trapped, but the gate tells her that that's not her greatest fear. She says that she has a greater fear that is fear wrapped in desire. Felicity plays dumb and says, like, I don't know what you mean. And then the gate asks Felicity if the gate should answer for her.
Pickles.
Huh?
She's afraid of pickles.
She is afraid yes, I'm afraid of pickles, but I desire them.
You can be afraid, but also they look delicious. Like I want to like raw tomatoes because they look really good on sandwiches and burgers and stuff. But then every time I taste one, I just
Sorry,
I get vomitus.
Vomitus. Tomatoes giving you food poisoning. Okay, so God. Okay. Okay. The gate tells Felicity that her fear is the truth of who she is and the fear that they will find out. Felicity says, okay, let me in then. Like, okay, yeah, that's the answer. Let me go. Pippa fears losing her beauty and she desires to go back. But when she says, I desire to go back, she looks Gemma dead in the eye. And again, bitch, she did not put you here.
God.
She did not put you here. Like, Jesus Christ.
Why'd you guys let me make this decision? This is your fault.
Like, Pippa was so precious in the first one, and she's just been, like, so downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bitchy but precious.
That's what happens when you get corrupted.
You know what? So true. So then Gemma says that she fears the Winterlands and what she'll find there. and that she doesn't know what she desires, but she wishes she did. So like her greatest desire was to like know herself, basically. And with that, they're inside. They find the river. Gemma tells them that they must stay with the river, and a boat appears. They get on the boat. Okay, so, all right, so they're on a boat. It eventually stops. They get off. They're walking through a forest. Out of nowhere, a barefoot slaps Gemma in the face.
Oh, wait, context. They're in the Winterlands, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, so wait. So we got Felicity's biggest fear in... What was Gemma's?
Gemma's biggest fear... I don't remember now off the top of my head.
Desire.
I know the desire was she doesn't know what she wants and she wishes she did. So that was her greatest desire. And then give me Gemma fears the Winterlands and what she'll find there. So that's her fear, is going into the Winterlands and what she might find within.
I'm afraid of the Winterlands and never want to visit the Winterlands at all. And cut to the gang visits the Winterlands.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exposure therapy.
So they get on a boat, go down the boat, get off the boat. Out of nowhere, as they're walking through a forest, a barefoot bumps Gemma in the face, like just slaps her in the face. They all look up into the trees, and it is full of bodies.
Nice decorations.
Gemma, for whatever reason, decides she's going to reach up and touch one of the bodies. Yeah. Let's see. So she reaches up to touch one of the bodies. The trees begin to shudder, and then they hear a chorus of whispers chanting sacrifice.
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 To the boat. To the boat.
Right. Gemma shouts for everyone to turn back, but as they turn back, the path that they were walking on disappears. Everyone frantically trying to decide where to go, but then Gemma hears a voice saying this way, and then she spots a patch of light. She tells everyone to follow her. She moves towards the light. The bodies in the trees begin to kick and grab at the girls. A man grabs hold of Pippa, and Felicity swiftly chops his hand off because no one's going to touch her girl. I mean, she legitimately threatened to take Kartik's eyes just for staring at her. So, let's see. They make it out of the forest. They're standing before a huge wall made of rock and black ice, think Game of Thrones shaped. As they are looking around trying to figure out what they're going to do and where they're going to go from here, Gemma hears a voice again telling her to take a closer look. She then sees a cave that's like a cave doorway that is lined with blood-soaked rags, which is totally fine and normal. So she immediately heads off to the blood cave, basically, because totally fine that she's immediately following this disembodied voice, especially when she was told not to trust what she hears and sees. But you know, our girl making great choices. I know, as they make their way through the dark tunnel, they step out into the light and they see an ancient tree. The tree, it's a weathered ash tree. The tree towers over them, branches stretching far above them. Snow begins to fall, and Gemma can feel magic humming all around her. About to get into the shit. So the tree murmurs to her, saying that she has come at last. The tree then tells Gemma she only needs to touch it in order to see. Everyone reaches out and touches the tree. Gemma is overcome and falls back. Then Gemma sees a woman bathed in light standing before her. It's Eugenia Spence. They are the only two there. So like everyone else is gone and it's just her and Mrs. Spence. Mrs. Spence tells Gemma that she's been waiting for her, that she had nearly given up hope. She goes on to explain that when the creatures of the Winterlands were unable to break her, they imprisoned her in the tree. She goes on to tell Gemma that in order for Gemma to understand the present, she must first understand the past. The next part we know for the most part. The rebellion began when Winterland creatures abducted young Order. However, they took 3 girls. One managed to escape and hide. The others offered a magic dagger in exchange for their release. The Winterland creatures more or less said, well, if that dagger is so powerful, why don't we fucking kill you with it? So that's what they do. They sacrifice the two girls. The other is like off hiding. As their blood drains into the soil of the Winterlands, the tree sprouts up. So the creatures believed that what was forged in blood demands blood, and that they needed to offer the tree's souls in payment for power. When the creatures are celebrating their victory, the young priestess who stole away, she grabs the dagger and she heads back to the order. She explains to them what happened. With that, the order build the runes in order to close the realms at that point. Because they're like, well, if they have this source of power now, we definitely don't want them to have access. So they built the runes to kind of keep everything closed up. The dagger was protected and passed down generation to generation of the order. Eugenia was the last keeper of the dagger. However, she doesn't know what happened to the dagger after she was sacrificed. Gemma excitedly tells Eugenia that she's seen the dagger with Mina in her visions. Eugenia asks Gemma what else Mina has shown her. Gemma explains that she can't make sense of most of it, but she's certain about the dagger. Eugenia explains that Mina was always attracted to the dagger, specifically to its darkness. Eugenia says that she hopes Mina can be trusted, but it is imperative for Gemma to find the dagger. She tells Gemma to be careful. If the order has been corrupted, they may use Gemma's power against her. The order may make her see things that they want her to see. Gemma must be careful and trust no one. Which I get. It's the total theme of these books. But honestly, and it is so unfair to tell a 16-year-old girl that she can't trust anybody and then not give her any like directions, you know? Like, because it's so fucking hard, like just in general to like know who to trust as you're coming of age anyways, but like this is high stakes situations. Yep. Also making her do this all on her own is like so fucked, right?
Like giving her half truths, like I can't stand it. Yeah. This isn't like a pilgrimage. This is let's fucking stop people from misusing magic. Right.
Exactly. She has no one to train her, no one to guide her. Like they've literally set her up with such an impossible task. And again, when you're 16, you don't have a very good bullshit detector anyways, right? Mm-hmm. So like I understand why she makes bad choices. Like it really is pretty abundantly clear here. But anyways, Eugenia tells Gemma that if Gemma falls, then the order will be lost forever. She tells Gemma that without the dagger, the creatures cannot bind Eugenia's power to the tree. She tells Gemma to find the dagger and bring it to her, which isn't suspicious at all. Like, we don't want the Winterlands to have the dagger. We really don't want the dagger at the tree. Gemma, go get the dagger and bring it to the fucking tree, right? Totally normal, makes total sense. Mm-hmm. Gemma asks what Eugenia will do with the dagger, and she very vaguely tells Gemma she'll do what she must to restore peace. Gemma agrees to bring the dagger.
Do what you must.
Right.
I can agree with that.
Sure, okay. Well, as the girls wander... Wait, no, just kidding. Okay, yeah, so She comes out of the vision with Eugenia. All of the girls are touching the tree and they're all like out of it. Gemma touches the tree. She's able to like see everybody's visions and they're all having like Felicity her vision was her and Pippa like dancing really closely, cuddling and like laughing with each other. And then Pippa was picturing herself on a throne. So like just that type of stuff.
Felicity.
Yeah. As the girls are coming back to the castle, they are all more or less like riding high and like giddy as hell from the visions. Gemma sees the Gorgon. She asks Gemma to speak with her. The Gorgon tells Gemma that she sees they've been to the Winterlands. Gemma tells the Gorgon that the tree is real and that it is immensely powerful. Gorgon begs Gemma not to go back to the Winterlands until the alliance is made. Gorgon goes on to say something about Gemma's power, but Gemma cuts her off, asking if that's all she means to the Gorgon. Gemma tells the Gorgon that no one sees her for who she is, only what she can offer them. No one cares who she is or how she feels about anything. She's at this point like crying. She then pulls herself together and tells the Gorgon to go. When the Gorgon tries like arguing, Gemma tells her that the conversation is over, and Gemma, if Gemma wants to speak to the Gorgon, she'll find her again. Otherwise, don't come looking for her. Basically, like, get lost. If I want you, I'll find you. I don't want to see you. So fast forward. We're back in normal land, and Mrs. Nightwing sends for Anne. Bridget is in Anne's room packing up her things. And I don't know when or why I cut this. I've been pretty, like, just loopy for the past day and a half. Anne went, she auditioned, she got the role. Like, she wins, right? The composer, like, who played piano while she sang, he was like kind of flirting with her, and as they were leaving, the girls are like, "Ooh, he likes you," and she goes, "He likes Nan." But the director and the actress, both of them said she's like one of the best singers that they've ever heard. So like she did really, really well, and that was all her. That was not magic related, but again, she was wearing a different face. So
okay.
So this is where we are. So that the letter was like, here's the audition, come get it. The girls take the letter, they take her. Okay, so her cousins, Anne's cousins, have arrived to take her home. Gemma tries to stop Anne, telling her that she has to fight. Like, you got this, like, you changed your life, you have to fight, you can't just lay down and die, basically. But Anne said that let's see, Anne basically says that she can't stand the thought of showing up as herself and them turning her away, basically. Like, she can't take that, so she would just rather have her cousins come and get her so that she can just, yeah.
I'm like, girl, if you're already saying no for yourself, why not go get the actual no in person?
Right. And she legitimately wrote a letter to her cousins asking them to come get her early. So Gemma has a scuffle with one of the other girls at Spence. Like, fast forward, McLeathy has them outside playing some sort of sport. Gemma has a scuffle with someone. McLeathy basically tells her off. Gemma goes inside. She is sitting with her copy of Secret Society's book. She's trying to comb over the pages, see if there's any hints. Gemma notices the title page has a poem on it. Gemma takes note of the illustration on the opposite page of the poem. While Gemma has seen this illustration before, she's never really looked at it. Gemma sees that it's a drawing of a room. It's one that she's seen in her visions. The drawing is titled "The Key Holds the Truth." Another page has a picture of a magician placing an egg in the box, and it's titled "The Hidden Object." Gemma believes that this drawing and the titles must be some sort of code and like hint to find the dagger. As she is flipping through the book, McLeathy comes in to like basically go off on Gemma again. She tells Gemma that if she isn't going to play, then she at least needs to go stand outside and cheer for her other girls, but she specifically calls them schoolmates. Like, you need to come and cheer for your schoolmates. Gemma just basically is not having it. She goes, "None of those girls are my mates," at which point McLeathy says, "They might be if you weren't so desperately in love with being alone."
Damn.
Gemma says that she's tired of the game, but McLeathy tells Gemma, "You're not tired of the game, you're tired of the rules." While this exchange is going on, Gemma's not even looking at her. She's just flipping through the book. And so, let's see. At this point, Gemma just looks at McLeathy and goes, I know you know Mina." And she's like, "What is happening?" Like, McLeathy's like, "We're having like," I don't know. So she's confused. Let's see. She basically says, "I know Mina was a disgrace to the order and a disgrace to Eugenia's memory." Okay, yeah, at one point she's like, "What's so important that you're not like looking at me?" And then she goes, "Oh, I'm reading the book that you purchased in London." And then she's like, "I know you know the author," type of thing. So that's what happened there. And then McLeathy says that she was an embarrassment and a disgrace to Spence and Eugenia. Yeah, Eugenia. She Hang on. Oh, also, yeah, side note, if the book is all lies, then how would it even expose the order, right? Like, if she's trying to expose the order, doesn't that mean that she's telling the truth, right? Like, that, yeah, so, also that. And then, let's see, she tells Gemma that Mina would do anything for money, telling Gemma that Mina used the book to try and blackmail the order to keep them from raising the funds to reconstruct the East Wing. She finishes off by telling Gemma that the book is dangerous, that it is a corruption of the truth, written by a traitor and sold to the highest bidder. At this point, McLeathy, very maturely, snatches the book out of Gemma's hands, goes to the kitchen, turns on the oven, and throws the book into it. McLeathy then, let's see.
I can't get behind book burning.
Right. The good guys never burn books or ban them. At this point, it occurs to Gemma that McLeathy says that Mina was a disgrace. So she looks at McLeathy and says, "Why do you think Mina's dead?" McLeathy just kind of goes pale and begins stammering, but then she says, "I don't know if she's dead, but I know she has a drug problem, so it's likely she is." Yeah, so, like, I would assume so. She had a hard life, so I would just assume that she's dead. So Gemma goes to find Felicity later. They step into a side room. Gemma brings her up to speed on everything regarding, like, McLeathy and Mina. Bridget kind of comes into the room, and they have a plan that they're going to con Bridget into information because that's what they always do. And then Bridget comes into the room while they're in there, and then she's like, "This room was just cleaned. You can't be in here messing shit up." So they...
Tell us what we want, or we're going to make it messy.
Right. But they tell Bridget that they needed some private time because they're feeling really emotional over Anne. They then tell Bridget that they know that she really cared about Anne and that she misses her too, which is true. Like, Bridget very much was like, well, like, you're going to essentially be me, like, type of thing. And, like, it's an honest life. Like, you could definitely have a much worse life, like, type of thing. So Bridget definitely really, really liked Anne. So she's like, "We know that you miss her too. Will you come sit with us?" So while they're sitting, they ask Bridget about Mina. Bridget says she remembers Mina. Mrs. Spence was always going on about how special Mina was, saying that Mina can see into the dark. They ask how Mina ended up at Spence, considering that she had no family, and Bridget is confused and said, "Why do you think she doesn't have family?" Basically, Mina is Mrs. Spence's niece. So she goes on to tell the girls that Mina was very often bullied. They asked if she had any friends at all. Bridget said that she would play with Sarah sometimes, and Sarah would sit and talk to her. But she would ask Mina what she could see in the dark. Mrs. Spence didn't like that, so she often punished Sarah, and she forbid them from ever playing together, essentially. Felicity asks if Mina had anywhere she especially liked to spend her time. Bridget tells them that she liked to sit on the lawn of the East Wing and draw the gargoyles. She goes on to explain that Mrs. Spence was worried about Mina. Mina began to draw dark things.
Dark-sided things.
That's literally, yeah, I did write dark-sided in here. The psychics and gargoyles. So Mrs. Spence thought that Mina was coming under a bad influence. Shortly after this started happening, though, the fire happened. After the fire, Mina started acting even more strangely, at which point Mrs. Nightwing told her that she needed to cut the bullshit or she would be expelled. But then one night, Mina left. Bridget notes that she took something very valuable with her. Felicity asks what Mina took, and Bridget says she doesn't know, but that Mrs. Nightwing was incredibly angry about it. Fast forward, back in the realms. Gemma isn't feeling super great about how everything is playing out, so instead she goes outside for a walk. As she's walking, though, she feels something pulling her towards the Tree of All Souls. She has a deep yearning to touch the tree again. But we know our girl isn't one to make really, really bad choices, right? So she's been told multiple times by multiple people not to come back to the Winterlands without an alliance or without the dagger. So, of course, she goes to the Winterlands. Does she
have an alliance or a dagger?
No.
Oh.
She follows the sound of the river, where she finds the boat again. While she's on the boat, she sees a nymph alongside the boat. The nymph looks at her and then kind of tilts her head over towards a cave. So, of course, we know that the nymphs are super dangerous, so she follows her. And then, let's see, the nymph swims into the cave. Gemma comes into the cave. Now, of course, she knows better than to fuck with the nymphs. But she's thinking to herself that she's okay because she won't let the nymphs get to her. Never mind the fact that they can like literally hypnotize you, but that's fine. So she follows the nymph. She gets into the cave. The nymph reaches up and caresses Gemma's ankle. The scandal.
The scandal, not the ankle.
Right. So Gemma shakes the nymph off and says that she's gonna have to fight her if she wants her skin, basically, like, you ain't getting this hoe. The nymph lets go and she sinks below the surface of the water. Gemma's starting to feel like really uneasy about this. And then she can see the nymph just below the surface, like still staring up at her. And then she sees pale creatures coming out of cracks and crevices in the rocks of the cave and like scurrying all over. They don't have any eyes, but they begin sniffing the air and then crawling towards her.
Okay, it's terrifying.
Right.
So, a bath.
Huh?
Should have taken a bath.
Should have taken a bath. Now, of course, our girl knows this shit isn't cool. Something bad is likely about to happen, so she turns around to leave, except there is no opening to the cave anymore. It's just a wall. At this point, she hears a horse. It's snorting and it's making its way downtown. Gemma looks in the direction of said horse, and Amar is there. He's walking along the cave until he's side by side with Gemma in her boat. It is at this point that Gemma notices that he has Kardic's lips and proud carriage. Don't know what that means. But unlike Kardik, Amar's eyes are black squirrels ringed in red, and his beautiful lips are hiding rows of jagged teeth.
Oh, he corrupted.
Well, yeah. He tells Gemma that he knows she's been to see the priestess. He asks what she told Gemma. Gemma tells him that loose lips sink ships, so she's not going to tell him, basically, like, fuck off. She then sees Amar's eyes shift from black to brown. At that point, he starts begging Gemma to tell Kardik that he has to remember to follow his heart. That is where Kardik will find his honor and his destiny. His eyes then go back to black. He tells Gemma that they will have her eventually, and again, beware the birth of May. Gemma screams for him to let her out of the cave. Just like that, it opens. She makes her way. She makes like a banana and heads back to the borderlands. As if it would seem that this encounter had scared her into some sense. Like, it would seem that maybe, like, she has some sense now, right? Because she's like, this is kind of fucky. I hate this. Back at Spence, Gemma receives a note from Kardik telling her that he has arranged a meeting for her to meet him at midnight, bring some cash, and dress sensibly. Gemma, knowing that she will be traveling the streets of London alone with a man, she should probably dress like a man. Mysterious as the dark side of the moon, but that doesn't mean she doesn't get to be a cute man. So she describes herself as what she describes, like, she changes herself as what she describes as a good boy.
Oh my god.
Kardik gives her shit for being late, but he asks if she has the cash. Information's costly. She says yes. He then looks her up and down and says that at least she dressed sensibly. His gaze like drifts upward, and then he quickly tells her she needs to button her coat. Apparently she made herself a good boy, but a well-endowed good boy. Also, magic only changes your hair and clothes. Apparently it does not change other physical features. She buttons up her coat. He looks...
Sorry, going back several minutes. Proud carriage, a general way of holding the body, so like his posture.
I mean, obviously knew it was body related, but...
Yeah, when I took my mind out of the, rated R section, I was like, shoulders.
Well, I was thinking just like torso, because like that's kind of like the main part.
Yeah, I was, but like what makes it proud? But I guess,
yeah.
I feel like there's a less weird way to have said that though, but that's fine.
Probably. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, was he a horse or was he just riding a horse?
He was riding a horse. Technically, I would assume a white horse. Mm-hmm. given division, which isn't also the white horse, a symbolism of death.
Death rides a white horse. Okay, see, Kardec, gives her shit for feeling. Anyway, so he tells her to button her coat, and then she does, and he looks back at her, and then he takes his scarf off and wraps it around her. Because, like, she cannot be contained. Let's see. They make their way to London. As they walk by the Thames, an elderly woman comes up and asks Kardec if he has any money to spare. He gives her a copper. When the woman leaves, Gemma asks why he did that. She's like genuinely just like, why would you do that? My dad says that if people are begging for money, they're going to use it to buy ale. And he's like, so if she wants ale, she should get ale, basically.
Your dad uses laudanum.
Yep.
Yeah, like legitimately, yes. On ale or other pleasures, which is honestly rich coming from someone who has issues with other pleasures to the point where he's giving away his wedding ring. Like, damn. Anyways, Kardec basically shrugs, says, let her drink ale. And
Let them eat cake.
right, he says that it's not the money that matters; it's the hope that he's given her, basically. He then tells Gemma that he knows what it's like to fight for things that others just take for granted. As they walk along the river, they find people along the edge of the Thames. They're standing in the water, like dunking pans and like sifting for things that have fallen into the river.
Bodies that were previously there.
Yeah. Well, some people like fish the bodies, and then some people just like pan the mud on the side of.
Oh, so are there still bodies there, or is that like past?
You're probably in the river.
No, that's just a general like thing. Like there's just people fall into the river, people are disposed of in the river, people panning die on the river.
I didn't know if that was like some kind of epidemic or like just something that was more common in like the, you know.
I'm gonna say it was just I don't know that for a fact, but I generally would I mean, if there's enough bodies in there, that's something that people do.
No, I get like, you know, panning for stuff. Like I get not metal detecting, but like the people who drag the things along the beaches, and like,
yeah,
I would love to do something like that. Anyways,
do you see that?
I totally get it.
Girl, you're scaring my girl.
Oh, I'm just like, I have my hand out. She's like, no. She liked how my thumb smelled or something.
That was something I saw, was they don't like the way that nails smell.
Nails smell.
Yeah.
Huh. I just thought
They do have a smell. They do have a, like, nails do have a smell.
You stink, girl.
Yeah. But you still lay next to me anyways.
She's like, who's touching me? Okay.
Papa.
Okay, so they're dunking pans in the river. They're sifting for items. Gemma looks confused. Kardec explains that they're called mudlarks, that they sift for money or items that they can use to sell. Gemma is horrified and starts to make a comment about them wading into the Thames, which, for context, it would be pretty comparable to the Detroit River for us, but make it worse because of how plumbing and hygiene was like back in the day. Yeah. So it's nasty as fuck.
Well, the Thames is like still really bad.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that for a fact, but I know that the Detroit River can be pretty heinous. Let's see. So he shrugs and basically says it's better than the people who sift for things in the sewer. Gemma comments that it's a wretched existence. He shuts her down with this. He tells her that it's a way to make a living and that life isn't always fair. She asks him that as someone who believes in fate so much, how would he describe their lives? Asking if it is their destiny to suffer like this, he tells her that suffering isn't destiny or ignorance. Isn't because of destiny or ignorance. As she carded... Oh, hang on. I totally fucked this up. Anyways, a kid comes up to them... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay, anyways, okay. So a kid comes up to them. He's covered in mud. He tells Kardec he's been waiting. Kardec asks the kid how treasure hunting is going. The kid holds out a handful of random items, saying that it's not much, but at least he can buy a pint later. The kid then clocks that Gemma is in fact not a good boy. He tells Kartik that she's not much of a beauty, but how much is she going for? Kartik tells the kid that Gemma belongs to him, at which point the boy says, sorry, Kartik, didn't mean any offense. Gemma is incredibly offended because he said she's no beauty.
Wow.
So the kid starts like leading them away, and as they're following behind the kid to like whatever meeting spot, another little boy pops out of the shadows and asks Kartik if he's interested in company for the night. Kartik declines, and Gemma looks at him like, what the fuck? And he just says someone's likely going to take him up on that offer, though. So Gemma's just really learning how the other half lives at this point. So the boy brings them over to a secluded spot. Kartik quickly tells the kid that this looks like a really good spot for an ambush. The kid just kind of shrugs him off. He tells Gemma to give the kid money. Gemma brought 5 pence, gives it to him. Gemma is annoyed that they are there to meet with the kid instead of a member of the Rakshana, but Kartik explains that they need info first. Like, they can't just rush into a meeting with the Rakshana. This kid is really good at getting information. We're here to get information. We're not here to, like, meeting is the next step. So the kid tells them that Tom is set to join the Rakshana. He doesn't know how much Tom has been told regarding the group, but they've already planned his initiation. Tom was brought in by Folsom, but a very high-ranking member is the one who asked Folsom to do that. The kid isn't sure who the high-ranking member is. He just knows that Folsom reports directly to him. So basically, that's his, like, manager. Gemma asks Kartik, or then Gemma and Kartik hear footsteps coming from behind them, almost like they're being ambushed. Kartik looks at the kid, and the kid shrugs and says, sorry, he offered me 6 pence to do this. So Folsom and some goons roll up on them. Folsom asks Kartik if he's protecting his lady love. Kartik plays dumb and asks what lady he's talking about, and Folsom tells him that she may be dressed as a good boy, but she still has lady eyes.
Oh my god.
So Kartik asks Folsom to promise not to hurt Gemma, at which point Folsom pulls out a knife. Gemma politely asks him to leave Tom alone, which apparently was her only plan, was just to say, please don't talk to my brother.
Oh my god.
It's all I have.
Yeah, I just want to be nice. Please stop. Folsom tells her that she has something that belongs to the Rakshana, though. She again says she doesn't have the magic. He says bullshit. Kartik asks Folsom why he's so sure Gemma is lying. To which Folsom replies that it's because she's talking. So, like, why are you so sure she's lying? Because her lips are moving, basically.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Folsom then goes on to say that he would be a hero if he brought both of them into the Rakshana. Kartik whispers to Gemma, asking if she can jump, and she nods. They then yeet themselves off the pier onto a ship below.
Can you jump? Oh, I guess jumping down.
But, like, also, there's going to be a gap between the... Yeah, so it's like, can you... Like, let's go.
Are you agile?
Yeah, like a cat. They make their way, hopping from the ship back onto the bank. Kartik then drags her into the sewer. She's like fighting him every step of the way. Like, I don't want to be doing that. But he tells her to just close her eyes. He's like, I'll lead you through this. We have to go. Just close your eyes and pretend like this isn't happening. But as he tells her to close her eyes, Folsom and the goons roll up. The goons grab him, twist his arms behind his back. Folsom closes in on Gemma. She quickly tells him that she gave all the magic to McCleathy this morning. She clocks that Folsom has like a really weird reaction to this. Like, first his expression softens, almost like his feelings are hurt by that. And then he's just angry. He tells her that if that's true, then there's no reason for him to keep her or Kartik alive. He then gets in her face, telling her that he feels really bad for Kartik, though. He goes on to tell her that he brought Kartik in shortly after the last book, that typically he's able to break people in just a day, but Kardec held out for a total of 6 days of torture. At this point, Kardec is filled with rage. He's fighting and tells Folsom that he's going to kill him. Folsom laughs at Kardec. He holds a knife up to Kardec's throat. He asks Gemma if Kardec's his aching heel. Folsom then tells Gemma that Kardec ended up going insane, like from the torture. He started hallucinating his brother. Amar told Kardec that Kardec was going to be the death of Gemma. Folsom then goes on to say that whatever else Kardec saw must have been horrific because he screamed until he had no voice left. Gemma then sees that Kardec is actually crying at this point, and no one messes with her man, so she looks Folsom dead in the eyes and says, "It's Achilles." And he goes, "What?" And she goes, "It's Achilles' heel, not aching heel, you idiot." Folsom then tells her that she has a pretty mouth and he's about to cut it open. She says, "Not today, bitch." And the lights in the sewer start to flicker. Folsom and his goons are rooted to the spot. They cannot move. The knife falls from Folsom's hand. Kardec gets out of the hold that he's in. Gemma tells Folsom to leave her brother alone. He tells her that he no longer gives a fuck about the magic or her brother. He's going to kill her. Like, that's all he gives a shit about at this point. He's going to make her regret doing this to him.
How dare a woman one-up him. How
Right.
dare.
Right. And of course, we know Gemma has many things, and one of them is an absolute badass bitch. So she uses her power to slowly drag his face down to the, like, sewer water. And let's see. Kardec is trying to calm her down and tell her to stop so that they can go. Like, hey, they're not going to trace us. Like, can we just go? But she she wants to, like, shove his face into the sludge. Right. But keep
it there long enough, they're definitely not going to chase after
right.
you.
As she's doing this, though, because when she's using magic on people, she, like, gets that psychic connection to them. She then sees a vision of Folsom as a child, his mother holding his face into a pot of water, until finally pulling him up. She then backhands him with her large ring, slicing him in the face. She then Gemma then lets him go because she's like, oh, he has trauma. But also, like, okay, your mom tortured you by trying to drown you. I probably shouldn't. It would probably be real fuck for me to, like, stick your face in some water, huh?
Okay, so, kill you a different way.
Yeah, so she stops with the water, and then she tells Folsom that she's sorry about his mother. He's enraged at this point. He shouts that Dorothy Mantooth is a saint. Gemma tells him that his mother hated him.
Oh, wow.
Your mother was a novice.
Yeah, sure was. Let's see. He swings on her. He's still rooted to the spot, so he just kind of flails his arms at her. She then tells him that they should only be stuck for an hour or two, and that once he's free, he probably shouldn't follow them. If he tries, she will stop him. Kardec takes her hand, leads her out of the sewer. Once they have made their way back to the Thames, Gemma asks for a moment. She sits down. She asks Kardec if he's all right. He is being really broody, and he just kind of shrugs at her. He tells her that now that she's heard what happened, she must think less of him. She obviously tells him that that isn't true. She asks if that's why he's been keeping his distance. He said that that's part of the reason. He wouldn't elaborate further on what the other part of the reason he's been keeping his distance is. She comforts him by telling him that he said ignorance. No, wait, hang on. I totally skipped a paragraph. Sorry. Part of the reason he didn't elaborate, he goes on to tell her that he, if he never enters the realms, then he won't be able to hurt her, basically. Like, my brother told me I was going to be the death of you. I see visions of myself with him in the Winterlands, but if I don't go into the realms, I can't kill you, basically. I'm sorry. What is happening? Why do we keep scrolling things? Okay, so he won't be able to hurt her or kill her. She comforts him by telling him that he said ignorance isn't destiny, and the only thing to accomplish by not going to the realms is not seeing the realms. So, like, you just won't know about the realms. That's the only thing you're going to accomplish, because you could kill and hurt me in, like, plenty of ways that doesn't involve being in the realms. And then they begin joking back and forth about different ways he could kill her. At one point, she says that he can abandon her to Mrs. Nightwing to be pecked to death, and he said he's not that cruel at all. Like, that's too fucked for even me to do. But he then tells her What she did to Folsom was extraordinary. He tells her that she could really change the world with this power. She jokes that it's going to take a lot more than power to change the world, but he tells her that change doesn't have to happen all at once. It is slow through small gestures and moments. They then have this incredibly sweet moment. She asks him if he ever feels restless. And then, quote here, as if you haven't really met yourself yet, as if you'd pass yourself once in a fog and you heard your heart and your heart leapt and you think, there I am. I've been missing that piece. But it happens too fast. And then that piece disappears in the fog again. And you spend the rest of your days looking for it. He nods. She assumes that he's just like placating her. Like, oh yeah, I always feel that way. And she begins kind of overthinking, like, I shared too much. That was entirely too intimate for me to have told to him. I was being too vulnerable. But then...
Reel back.
Right. But then he asks if she wants to know what he thinks. He then tells her, sometimes I think you can get a glimpse of that piece in someone else. He then pulls her in and kisses her. Then they hear a commotion coming down from the docks, and they quickly scoot away from each other. Kardik makes a joke that he's going to be arrested because he's kissing a good boy. As they stand to leave...
He could have done worse.
Huh?
He could have done worse.
He could have done worse because it was offered earlier.
Yeah, that is fair.
Which was bad.
Yeah, at least he didn't have to pay for this.
You're right.
So
don't try to justify anything here.
So, anyways, there's a commotion below. Someone has fished something amazing out of the river, a handful of rubies. Everyone's gathered around. They're all rejoiced. Someone shouts, "A hot bath and a full belly for everyone." Kardik mentioned that it was really odd stroke of good luck for someone to pull a fistful of rubies out of the Thames.
Oh, does she do that?
Yeah, she did that.
I was like, is this foreshadowing? Did she die in the river, or is this she just made rubies happen?
I'm not sure if you mentioned it. Is it like, I know it's tied to her emotions and stuff, but is it like the goodness or badness is tied to like how she's feeling?
Not necessarily, no. At the beginning, it was basically tied to her emotions because she didn't think she had the magic, so she wasn't using it, meaning that it was kind of like a hair trigger type thing where it took very little for the magic to just do what it needs to do because, again, it's like too high. But now that she has been using it and she has gone in the realms and she's changing people's minds, now that she's using it more, it takes a little bit less. It doesn't take as much it takes a lot more, for the magic to just kind of pop off and do what it wants to do. Although still, if she gets like incredibly like upset, like pissed, then she doesn't have as much control over it. But generally speaking, if you're in a really heightened emotional state, you generally don't have is full control of a lot of things, like just in a normal person. Like when you get really amped up, like you might like say or do things that you wouldn't necessarily say or do if you were thinking clearly. So anyways, he said that's an odd stroke of luck. He asked Gemma if she had anything to do with that. She coyly says that she's not sure what he means, but she thinks to herself that this is change. This is one moment, one person, one gesture.
One heart, one family.
Literally. I hate myself. Okay, anyways. On the ride back to Spence, Gemma gives Kardik the message from Amar. Kardik says that is something that Amar used to tell him a lot. The eye can be misled, but the heart knows what's true. And to me, that feels like a covert way for Amar to have debunked Kardik's dream. Just kind of like do what you think is right is how I interpreted that meaning for that particular point in time. And then it generally is incredibly strongly hinted that Amar is kind of like a reverse Pippa situation in that most of the time he's a Winterlands creature, but every once in a while his true self is able to fight free. Let's see. Kardik thought he was seeing Amar in his dreams, but if his heart tells him he should be helping Gemma and joining her cause, then that's what he needs to be doing. She tells Kardik it seems like some of Amar is still in there then. Kardik said it would be better if that wasn't true. Like, if it would be better if he didn't know that he was this thing. There is... Fast forward, new day, commotion outside, construction foreman, Mother Elena. Basically, they go outside and Miller is like holding Mother Elena by the arm, Gemma notes that her face is really gaunt and her like clothes are like hanging off of her since the last time she saw her, implying that Mother Elena's not doing well at all. So Miller's yelling that he caught her defacing the construction site with blood. Mrs. Nightwing tells him to unhand her. The rest of the Romani camp are gathered around. Miller says that the Romani aren't going anywhere until they tell them where their missing workers went, because, again, they're just abducting grown-ass men, sure. One of the Romani men, Ithel, and Ithel is the Romani that like Felicity was like macking on like in the first book, and he just kind of has been here or there. He definitely does a little bit more in this one, which is why he gets a name right now. So Ithel rolls up his sleeves and he
runs up and goes, "What is the charge?"
Right. No, he like rolls up his sleeves and he's basically like, "We have nothing to do with that. We've already told you.
This is Democracy Manifest."
Yeah, you know your kung fu well. He grabs Mother Elena by the arm, but Miller yanks her even harder and she ends up like losing her balance and falling. He then again says racist. Mrs. Nightwing puts her foot down. She tells Miller to unhand Mother Elena before telling the construction workers to get back to work. She's like, "I've had enough. Let this woman go. She's clearly unwell. Like, go fucking do the job I'm paying you to do."
We're not paying you for capturing the locals.
Right.
You're not constructing right now, so you're not getting paid.
Right. They just wanted work. That's all they wanted. Like, quit being dicks. Before returning to work, Miller says that either they will get their men back or they will take one of them. Like, if you don't give us our men back, we're taking one of you as retribution. Mrs. Nightwing has the girls help Bridget prepare a basket of food and medicine for Mother Elena, because Mrs. Nightwing, she says that they've been there since they've been there since Mrs. Nightwing's been there. Like, she's never known Spence without them, and that she remembers when like Ithel was like a little boy. Like, she like
when he was
cares
little?
for them when he was little. Yeah, so just like she cares for them. She knows that they're like good people type of thing, and she feels really bad because it's very clear that Mother Elena's like at the end of her days. So
she probably helped keep whatever she was doing is probably protecting the other fuckers from dying.
Yeah. So Bridget says that Mother Elena looks worse as her handkerchief. Worse as her handkerchief. So whatever the hell that means. Nightwing asks for a volunteer to take the basket to the camp. Of course, obviously Gemma jumps at the chance for this.
I'm the main character. I'll go.
Yeah, right. Also, I like the boy over there. When Mother Elena, she gets into Mother Elena's wagon. Also, when she like enters the camp, the Romani women are not fucking having it. Like, they don't want her there. Like, they're really upset and angry. She like shows up and she's like, "Oh, I brought this for Mother Elena," and they're like, "We don't want your food. We don't want your medicine. We don't want you here. Leave." But then Kardec basically is like, "Come on, let's go." So she brings the basket in to Mother Elena. Mother asks Gemma to come closer to her. She's sitting on her bed. She's shuffling her tarot cards. She tells Gemma that she's tired, that she tried to warn them. Gemma asks what Mother wants to warn them about. She said that Carolina died there in the fire. Gemma says she knows, but that was a long time ago. Mother Elena tells her what's past is never past. It isn't finished. What opens one way can be opened another. Dogs are barking in the distance. Mother Elena tells Gemma that one of them brings the dead to us. Mother Elena then pulls a card. It's the Tower. The Tower card symbolizes sudden change, a dismantling of false beliefs, structures, and ego-driven situations that no longer serve. Also, side note, when I was doing my presentation at work, like way back in November 2024, I decided to chill myself out by drawing some tarot cards before I did my presentation. I pulled the Tower out of one deck. I went and grabbed the other deck. I pulled the Tower out of the second deck, and I would say a lot of things were deconstructed shortly thereafter. So just a little fun woo-woo. A Romani woman enters the like trailer cabin thing and is like, get gone, girl. As Gemma's leaving, Mother Elena grabs her and says the door must remain closed. Tell them. Gemma promises she will, and she leaves. Kardik walks her out of camp. He asks what she said to Gemma. She tells him that the East Wing will bring the dead, but that someone wants the dead to come. Kardik tells Gemma that Mother is very ill and she likely won't live long enough to see Summer. He tells Gemma that he dreamed he was in a beautiful garden last night, describing the garden as the most beautiful place he's ever seen. Gemma smiles and tells him that that's the realms, and asks him if it was a horrible dream. He smiles and he tells her that it was not a horrible dream, and that he thinks he wants to see the realms for himself. As Gemma makes her way back to Spence, it begins raining, like full on fucking downpour. Gemma is then suddenly pulled into a vision. She's in a small room that smells strongly, making Gemma want to gag. She sees Mina scribbling on the walls. Gemma sees the word sacrifice, lies, monster, the birth of May. The vision shifts and she sees little Mina and Sarah. Sarah's asking Mina what she sees in the dark. She asks Mina to show her. It shifts again. Gemma is seeing Mina angrily write, "You ignored my warnings, I shall expose you." Which is basically the letter that she found in Mrs. Nightwing's. She's then in the dim room. She sees Mina sitting on the floor with a dagger in her hands. She takes out a leather pouch and unrolls it. It contains a syringe and a vial of something. Mina carefully puts the dagger into the pouch, wraps it up, and then injects herself with whatever is in the vial. Gemma then feels this rush of exhilaration. Gemma wakes up and she's lying on the lawn. The construction workers are all standing over her. She hears one of them say, she's smiling, so she must be okay, right? They like hoist her up off the ground and carry her into the kitchen. Bridget asks them what happens. One of them says she collapsed the lawn and she was having a fit. Gemma is sitting by the fire and she's just giggling to herself. Bridget then tells the men to go, like, let the women do our work and you go fucking mind your business. So as Bridget is making her a cup of tea, wrapping her in like a blanket, she notes that Gemma is as fidgety as a cat. Mrs. Nightwing enters the room. It occurs to Gemma that it was the same note. When Mrs. Nightwing enters and asks what all the fuss is about, Gemma snarls at her, telling her nothing. She's like, nothing's wrong. And then Nightwing is like, what is happening? She tries to put her hand to like Gemma's forehead. Like, do you have a fever? Like, are you delirious? Like, what is going on?
Viral.
Right, but as she puts her hand to Gemma's forehead, Gemma moves away from her, and she tells Nightwing that she doesn't want her help, she only wants Bridget. Nightwing is basically like, I'm the boss, so like, please fucking shut your mouth. Basically, I'm the boss. She then tries to feed Gemma a spoonful of something. Gemma refuses to open her mouth, so Bridget comes behind Gemma and pries her mouth open so Nightwing can dump the liquid down. But as soon as she empties the spoon into Gemma's mouth, Gemma starts shrieking that she's been poisoned.
Oh my god.
And if we aren't catching this, she is high on whatever it is that Mina injected herself with. So Bridget is then trying to comfort Gemma because she's inconsolable, screaming that she's just been poisoned. Gemma looks at Nightwing and tells Nightwing that she will expose her. Mrs. Nightwing like gets this really surprised look on her face. And then she
try it, bitch.
Right. She then like composes herself and tells Bridget to like take her to bed, please. The rest of the night take her bed for the rest of the night until she's like back to herself again. And then it isn't until later in the afternoon that Gemma starts to feel the effects wear off. Gemma is honestly terrified to have another vision with Mina because she's like, if she's gonna be doing drugs, I cannot be part of that. I
think that's the first time I've heard of like secondhand heroin or secondhand opium or something.
Right.
You probably grasped too hard onto the feeling.
Well, but also the visions are kind of starting to like impact her physically, right? Because Mina also was swinging a dagger at her and her hand got sliced. So
Are your feeties cold? Do you need a blanket?
it's more so my ankles.
Oh, not the ankles.
The ankles.
She's always cold.
From the boys.
Gotta protect them. Okay, so anyways, later Mrs. Nightwing brings Gemma toast and tea. And she sits with Gemma and she asks Gemma what she meant by that. And Gemma lies and says that she doesn't remember anything that she said. Nightwing then pivots and asks if Mother Elena explained why she was painting hexes. Gemma tells her the truth. Gemma then asks why the East Wing is being rebuilt after all this time. Nightwing explains that it took a long time for them to raise the funds to have the reconstruction done. And she's doing it to help rebuild Spence's reputation. Each year, fewer and fewer girls are being enrolled. So she basically wants to, like, not have a ruined, like, boarding school.
I don't know. I'm starting to think that maybe they should just close Spence at this point. It sounds like a lot of hoodoos happening.
I mean, you know. Nightwing then tells Gemma that she's only sharing this because she trusts Gemma, saying that Gemma's been through a lot of hardships, and that builds character. So she's like, I feel like I can trust you and be real with you because, like, you've seen some shit. Gemma asks Nightwing if she trusts McCleathy. Nightwing is, like, kind of surprised by this question, saying of course she does. Gemma asks if Nightwing trusts McCleathy like a sister. Gemma then goes on to ask if Nightwing also trusted Mina. Nightwing asks Gemma where she got that name from. Gemma says she went here and was Mrs. Spence's niece. Nightwing says, like, yeah, that's true, but also, like, you didn't answer the question. Gemma then presses asking why Mina never comes around as a proud daughter of Spence. Nightwing tells Gemma that Mina was not a proud daughter of Spence, but rather a disappointment, going on to tell Gemma that Mina tried to stop the reconstruction. Nightwing says she's not sure why, though, because Mina's the one that brought up the idea of raising funds to do it. So perhaps someone told Mina that that was a good thing, and then Mina realizes that that was actually, in fact, a bad thing. So Nightwing then tells Gemma that Mina also stole a relic that was left in Nightwing's care. Nightwing says she's here to bring Gemma tea and not be interrogated. Like, girl, I'm just coming to make sure you're okay. Like, what's with the third degree here? Gemma then says, well, I don't want any more tea then. So Nightwing gets up and leaves. Later, she sneaks down to the kitchen to find something to eat, but she hears McCleathy meeting with someone. Gemma goes to drop them eaves, and she realizes it's Folsom. He tells McCleathy that Gemma has the magic, and that Gemma is dangerous and reckless and is going to bring them ruin. McCleathy brushes him off, telling him that Gemma's just a girl. He warns McCleathy that she is severely underestimating Gemma. McCleathy says that once the tower is completed, the secret door will be illuminated and the realms will be in their power again. So she's like, I don't care. Like, she's just a child. Like, we're about to come back to power. It's really not a thing. Yeah. Folsom tells McCleathy that she's mad. McCleathy responds by telling him that's what he likes about her. The lore dump here is that they are romantic. McCleathy will more or less bring him into the Order once the Order rises to power. So, like, obviously he's the spy within the Rakshana, and she has promised him that, like, if he helps her get her shit done, that, like, he can be, like, the first boy Order, I guess.
The first boy Order. Oh my
god. He grumbles at her about
disorder.
He grumbles, like, the Rakshana's gonna fuck me up if they find out about this, and if they find out that I let Kardec live. But she tells him that she needs Kardec, and that he owes her, and that he will answer to her because she's the one that asked Folsom not to kill him. So that is why he's still alive, is that Folsom was meant to capture him, torture him, kill him, but then McCleathy convinced him not to kill Kardec. At this point, Gemma is connecting some dots, and she has realized that Kardec is the one that McCleathy was meeting with at the Illusion Expo thing that they went to. Although, also, yes, sorry, just past Brittney left this note in. This is the third time someone has asked Kardik to spy on Gemma, and he has never, not once, reported back to anybody about her. So, like, why are people enlisting this man to spy on this girl? Because he won't tell people shit, and that's why he's been staying away from her, and why he's like, stop telling me about the realms, because he's like, I have to spy on you. Quit telling me things. Like, please, I beg. Because he's like, yeah, I'll spy on her, but then he's like, I just won't ever go near her or talk to her. Like, goddamn, just why? It's like,
why does he keep saying yes?
well,
But no, like, yes,
in this
but no.
situation, he absolutely had. Well,
Oh yeah, I guess so.
in every situation, he had to, right? Because first he was a proud member of the Rakshana, and then he was trying to weasel his way back into the Rakshana, and now he is in retribution for having his life saved. So Gemma takes off. She goes to see Kardik because she's obviously pissed. She tells him that she knows everything, telling him that, like, don't even bother denying it. I'm not having it. He just asks how she found out. He doesn't try to deny it. He tells Gemma that this is why he was pushing for her to stay away from him, and that's why he doesn't, because he didn't want anything to tell. Like, basically, I don't want to have to tell them anything, so just don't tell me anything. I can't tell them if I don't know. He tells Gemma that he was ready to die when Folsom was torturing him, but McCleathy told Kardik that if he helped her, then she would help him save Amar. He explains that Amar is all he has in this world. Kardik tells Gemma that he wants to save both of them, her and his brother. Gemma just screams that she didn't need someone to save her, she needed someone to trust. He expresses that he did this for the right reasons, even if it was a mistake. She tells him that she won't be sharing her secrets with him before telling him that he's wrong. Amar wasn't all that he had. But Kardik didn't have faith in her, and so she leaves. Like, you had me, but you couldn't even believe in me. So Kardik goes after her. He grabs her hand, telling her that she's not the only lost soul. She pulls away. She heads to the realms and to the caves. On her way, she sees the forest folk are in the poppy fields stealing poppies. One of them clocks her as she's going to see the Hijin. So, like, they're like, okay, cool, bet you are very clearly plotting with them, which is, we obviously know is not the case. And they call her out on this too. So she basically says that she can do what she wants. And then why should she choose to share the magic with them when she doesn't even know if they're working with the Winterlands? The forest folk clearly don't love that. They tell her that she's just like the rest of the Order, essentially. So, like, obviously the Order just didn't trust anyone in the realms because the Winterlands are bad. So how do we know all of you aren't bad? Like, painting them with the same brush type of thing. Gemma goes to Circe and tells her she wants to know everything about the Order and the Rakshana. Nothing is to be left out. She then needs to be taught how to master the magic. Gemma explains that she won't let them take her power away. Circe asks Gemma if she found the tree and if it's as powerful as the temple. Gemma lore dumps at this point about the tree and Eugenia and the dagger. Circe tells Gemma that her help will cost magic. And Gemma says she doesn't care. She then says, if you can't leave the well, you're not dangerous, so I don't give a shit about giving you magic. And then she's like, what are you even going to do with magic anyways? And she's like, that's my business. When Gemma leaves after this interaction, we don't see any of this interaction, but when she leaves, she's not afraid of her power. She's worshiping her power. She intends to close the borders to the Winterlands herself, and she intends to defend them without mercy. So she's very much having like a empowered girl power moment. Yes, and fucking finally, Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. And with that, we are done with part 2.
All right.
This has been a journey. I'm invested. Fuck Carton.
And like all of the good shit is in the next part, and I'm so excited. Like, just every fucking scene, I'm like, I have to get every single word. Because this is amazing.
This is the ramp up. This is the end.
Yeah,
this is tragedy.
This is the start of Act 4, and then Act 5 is legitimately like 3 pages, like in the book. Like, it's tiny.
It's basically Act 5's like where
the
everyone is now. Yeah.
Yeah. Which it's not even like a full page. In my like 70-page script. Okay. Send us out, Nick.
Send us out, Nick, so we can get started on the third part.
I got nothing.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Tired of this, Grandpa. It's too damn bad. Hear me yap roar out. I don't know what that means, but
Nick, make that song be a yap pun. Go.
We are the champions, and you're gonna hear us yap.
yap.
Yap. And you're gonna hear us yap.
Yap.
Okay, well, you can tell that we're delirious. It's been a really fucking goddamn long weekend.
We'll
but...
see you in part 3. Bye.
See you in part 4.
Oh, wait. I was like, wait, is it part 3 or part 4?
No, he's just being a goober.